welcome. My name is Samia. I'm your happiness expert and author of the book, Make Change Fun and Easy. And this is a business training on sales calls that convert leads to clients with sales coach Teresa Paul. And I'm so excited to have Teresa with us. Welcome, Teresa.
Thank you.
Okay, and so we'll get back to Teresa in just 1 minute. And I just have one really quick thing I want to share with you before we jump into the training with Teresa. And that is that this training is actually brought to you by the Dream Incubator. And if you're wondering what the Dream Incubator is, it's an online community of coaches, trainers, and healers that's designed to act as an incubator. That's a safe and nurturing space to develop, test, and prove the effectiveness of your marketing so that when you launch your marketing campaigns in a bigger way outside of the Dream Incubator, you can be confident that they will succeed because you've already tested and proven them to be effective, great or great. So if you want to learn more about the Dream Incubator, you can just go to dreamincubator.academyofthriving.com/community. And I'll make sure I post this link in the show notes and in the chat later. So check that out. Okay, so we are now ready for Teresa. And Teresa, I'm going to just have you jump in and give us a more thorough introduction of who you are and what you do and what you're going to teach us today.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm Teresa Paul. I have been in sales and marketing for over 30 years in the corporate world. So earlier this year, I decided, I've been a certified coach also for 13 years. So I decided to jump in and just hang my own shingle and become a sales coach. So in that process, I have learned a lot. Life doesn't translate easy from offline to online, and I get that. And so what I'm trying to do is put all those pieces together so I can help other people shorten that curve. It's taken me months to figure this all out. So what I'm hoping to do is to help you sort of get things together a little bit quicker so you can start moving on and building your business. I have lots of knowledge in the sales and marketing industry. And one thing I've learned is that sales isn't just the process of collecting money for your services. That's the end of the process. That's the sale. But the sales process starts from identifying your ideal client and moves on a very, very strong timeline to that close. And so it's very important that you hit all the marks along the way, because most people don't decide to buy your services at the end. They decide somewhere in the middle. If someone gets on a sales call with you, they're not a no, they're a maybe or a yes. So that's your chance to really move them into becoming an actual client. So what I want to talk to you today, I'm going to touch a little bit on leads, but I'm going to give you my sales formula for closing sales calls. Now, this is a pretty sales-oriented sales call, but it's also very nurturing and very authentic. It just is a conversation between two people who might want to do business together. And so you get to customize it however you feel you need to. It's very cool. And so first of all, I would like to know a little bit. I see Luann is on here. Hi, Luann. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do and what your coaching style is?
I am a visibility coach, and I help women, entrepreneurs, figure out what's holding them back from being visible in their business so that they can actually show up fully. A lot of times they have here's my door muffle. They have things like they're afraid to show up on video visibly because they don't feel like they know enough. They don't feel like they've look good. They don't sound good. They have a lot of the self-talk things going on. And then I help them get online and be confident in their business and in their personal.
That is so important because as a culture, I think, we grew up with magazines and movies and supermodels and actresses. And I think we need to be that when we get on camera. But in reality, people want to do business with real people, right? They don't want to do business with supermodels, and they don't want to do business with actors. They want to do business with people who are just like them. And so I think that's really great that you are doing that. And I hope you get something out of that to help you move that along. And the reason I ask is I like to know who I'm talking to and get a little bit of information, because that helps me in my process. So jump in and ask questions if you want to all along the way. So what I'm going to do, I prepared a PowerPoint because, I grew up in old school sales and we always had a PowerPoint. So that's what I do. And so I prepared a PowerPoint to sort of help us along with this information. So if it's okay, Samia, I'm going to share my screen.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so everybody has sort of a different relationship with sales. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people ignore it completely, and they use other methods for getting sales. What I'm going to talk about is how to actually have that sales conversation, how to talk to people like we used to do in the old days, eyeball to eyeball, and talk about what it might mean for you to be able to serve them at a very high level. So what I call this presentation is convert 100% of hot leads to clients. And I'm going to tell you how to make sure you're working with a hot lead, because if you're not, then you won't be able to convert them. So this is sort of a mini version of the process that you need to go through to get people from A to Z so that you can actually work with them. So I just wanted to touch on a little bit of promotions versus marketing versus sales, because I think this gets kind of jumbled in people's minds. So promotion is any communication about your business. So whether you talk to a stranger on the park bench or you talk about it in your on your Facebook page, anything you do to talk about your business is promotion. Marketing are specific activities that promote your business. So you plan to do Facebook posts, or you plan to do a training like this for another group, or you want to do a podcast. There's specific things. And this is where we spend most of our time. And if you're a new coach, this is where you spend probably 80% of your time talking to people, trying to get them to learn about you and move through the funnel, which I'll tell you about. The sales, the very end part, the sale is actually the exchange of money for services. So there is a timeline that goes along with this, and I'll show you what that looks like. So what you're going to learn today, this is the agenda. You're going to learn a little about what's a lead and why should I care. You're going to learn about my high converting sales call approach. You're going to learn to customize that approach so it works for you, no matter what your business is or how you coach. You'll probably get some random sales tips because that's just how I operate. I just come up with stuff and I'll let you know what that is. And then at the end, I will tell you how you can accelerate your sales process even faster. In all transparency, this is my program. So I'm going to offer my program to you, and you can decide to work with me or not. Totally up to you. So this was written in a workshop format. So what I'm going to do is pause a little bit between each step so you can jot some ideas down. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. So this is just bullet points to get you started on creating your own sales call. So I'm Teresa. I help people who help people. And my philosophy is if you're a coach and I can help you, then I've helped you help people, then I help more people. So it's sort of that ripple effect. I've been in sales and marketing for over 30 years. I've closed hundreds of deals worth millions of dollars and helped dozens of salespeople do the same. So this is what I've been doing for my whole life. And now I want to do it for coaches. So the first I want to talk about the sales or the marketing funnel, because it's really important to have good quality people that you're talking to. So probably most of you have seen a marketing funnel. So I'm not going to go into this in detail, but I really wanted to talk about leads. Now, remember, leads are people, right? They're not ethereal things out there that don't make the cut until you talk to them. They're people who are listening to you. So if you look around the outside of the marketing funnel, all that white space, these are where your cold leads are. This is everybody in the world. And what you wanted to do is to find pockets of where your ideal client hangs out so that you can tell them about yourself and get them into your marketing funnel. So an example of this, I was trying to think of one earlier. So let's say you're a promoter and you promote concerts and you have a band coming to the local tavern and you want to promote it. Now, you don't really have money for TV or radio or newspaper, so you create a flyer, right? And you're going to hand out this flyer. Now, where are you going to take this flyer? You're probably going to take it to other live events, right? Because people who listen to live music will be more likely to listen to your live music. You probably are not going to take it to the local senior citizen center because those people are not likely to go to a tavern or listen to live music unless it's like a swing band or something. So there's a strategy to getting your cold leads. So once you find those people and you hand out your flyer, and this is where you do your Facebook posts and you go to different groups and you find the people that you want to work with you, and then you put them in your funnel. So the first level is awareness. They know about you. Now, this is really important because until they know about you, they can't actually hire you, right? So you want to have a ton of people in that awareness. You want to just talk to a lot of people and just pile them in there because not everybody is going to want to work with you. Not everybody's going to click with you, and not everybody's going to understand that they need your services right now. But of those people in the awareness, you want some of them to trickle down to the interest phase. Now, both of these are warm leads. So now they're starting to follow you and they're starting to listen to you and they're starting to do your free events and they're starting to comment on your posts. So now you understand they're warmer leads, right? They are interested in what you have to say. So maybe you talk to them a little bit more and then they move into the desire phase. This is where the really good stuff happens. They think they want to work with you. They like your message. They like what you talk about. And then they're ready to talk to you and get more information. This is the really juicy part. This is where you want to do a sales call because now they're a maybe or a yes, and you want to convert them to a client, right? And then you move them down into the action where they actually become a client. And the last level is loyalty, where they stay a client and they continue to listen to you and hire you and do your programs because they love you and they want to learn from you. So this is a really brief introduction of leads. The reason it's important to be aware of this is because you need to know where your leads are at any given time. Are they cold leads that don't know about you yet? Do they just know about you and need more information? Or are you starting to see them pop up a lot in your marketing, which means there might be a hot lead? You might want to reach out to them and see if you can't answer any questions personally. Make sense? So sales calls, yes or no? Some people are sales calls, no. I'm not sure how they get their business, but that's what they are. I'm a sales call, yes, obviously. So a few things to remember about sales calls. Sales calls are just a conversation, two people talking. You're not twisting their arm. You're not holding them hostage. You don't have them duct taped to a chair. You're just having a conversation, right? So just keep it easy and keep it free flowing. The second thing is you are in control of the sales call. What this means, and I'm sure this has happened to everybody, you ask somebody to tell them about themselves, and 30 minutes later, without ever taking a breath, they've just blown away your whole sales call, and you have no information to be able to help them. So you want to make sure that you structure the sales call so that you can keep it on point. It isn't a coaching call. It isn't a place for them to dump all of their emotions. It's a place for you to actually take care of business. And again, it's not that you're being a control freak. It's just that you are moving them in the direction that they say they wanted to move. This is not a coaching call. Some people will use coaching in their sales calls. Some people will use a free coaching call to get people into the sales situation, but a sales call is not a coaching call. And I always like to be very clear about that. I don't want anybody to ever feel like it was a bait and switch. Like I told you, I'd give you a free coaching call and now I want you to pay me for other things. So if you're doing that, be very careful about that transition. And here is probably the most important point. It gives you a chance to continually qualify your prospect. So there are some people that I just don't want to work with. They don't have the same values. They don't share the same beliefs. And so I just don't really want to work with them. That doesn't mean they're bad. It has no judgment value on it. It's just that you want to work with people who really resonate with you. It makes life so much easier. So there's 6 steps to a highly effective sales call. Yes, I added a pre-step, so there's really 7, but this is sort of an optional step, let's say. So step 1 is the agenda. I always encourage you to set an agenda so both parties know exactly what the conversation is about. Step 2 is get their story. Step 3 is tell your story. Step 4, now this is a little bit of a mixed bag that you can actually create yourself. You're going to talk about your program, your results, or coaching. Step 5, questions that they have that you haven't answered. And then step 6 is get them as a new client. So I'm going to go through these steps one by one. And this is where you can start to write down a little bit of information. If you're watching this on replay, great, just pause it and write as much as you want. But I'm going to give about 30 seconds for anybody who's watching it live to be able to just start to jot down some notes. So step 0, the bonus step. So this is optional, but I always do this step, and I research my prospect. So I find out as much about them as I can on social media, on the website, on their website, and on Google. The reason for this is I want to look for any red flags. I want to look for anything that makes me feel like I might not be comfortable with them, or I might not want to work with them, or that they might be better with another coach. It tells me 2 things, actually. It tells me that I haven't done a good job of clarifying who I am if I'm bringing people on that aren't my clients. And it also tells me that I need to be sharper in all of my messaging. The second thing, and this is pretty cool. So I know probably you have some no-shows, right? Somebody says, yeah, I want to book a call with you, and then they don't show up. Very frustrating. If you want to reduce the number of no-shows, send a meeting reminder email that just says, hey, I'm looking forward to meeting with you in 2 days. Hey, I have a few questions for you. If you could send me the answers, it will really help us to create a great meeting. And send them a few questions. What do you do? Why are you coming to coaching now? Tell me about it, just anything to get them involved, because once they are involved, then they're more likely to show up. So this is the optional step, but I highly recommend it. Takes a little bit of time, but not really that much. And it increases the value of your sales call. So step 1, the agenda. So this doesn't have to be a strict agenda. It depends on what kind of call you're doing. But I want to know that we both understand why we're here. Otherwise, we're going to get to the end of the call and somebody's going to say, okay, this is not what I expected. This happens to me a lot. Coaches invite me to a call and we end it and it wasn't what I expected. So you just want to explain the structure of the call. So what I do when I set the agenda, I explain these very 6 steps. I talk about, hi, so just to let you know why we're here today, I'm going to ask you a few questions about you because I really want to know more about you. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about me so you understand me and you know that I'm qualified to actually talk to you about this stuff. Then we're going to go over some parts of the program, really high level, not the details, so that you understand it better. Then throughout the process, you can ask questions. And if, when we get to that point, you feel good about the relationship, then I'm going to tell you about my program and pricing. How does that sound? Right? If they say yes, then you go on. If they say no, then the conversation changes and you start to talk to them about why they're there, if that's not why they're there. So just take a few seconds and maybe jot down what 3 to 5 agenda items are. And this can be specific to your coaching, or it can be rather general. And if you don't have any agenda items, by the end of this, you will, because I'm going to give you 6 items that you can include. So just take a few seconds. And Luann, I'll talk to you since you're the only one that I can see, and jot down maybe 3 to 5 things that you really want to happen in a sales call based on who you coach and who you are as a coach. And this is going to look very different if you're a more emotional coach. Like I have a friend who's a love coach. Her sales calls are very emotional and very, very tender, right? I'm a sales coach. My calls tend to be a little bit more direct and a little bit more forward. So you have to kind of figure this out on your own. I have a frog. Okay, step 2, get their story. Now, you don't want their whole story. You don't want their life story. You don't want their sob story. You want the story of why they're looking for a coach right now. You're listening for the why they showed up to talk to you today, but you're also listening for the why now. This is really important because this is why they'll hire you today. So for me, somebody might come to me and say, Teresa, I just need more clients. Okay, so why do you need more clients? Well, I need more money. So what is more money going to bring to you? Well, I have 2 kids getting ready to go away to college and I need to be able to pay for that, right? So they need to start getting more clients to make more money because they've got kids going to school. This is great information for me later on when they start to talk about, maybe I'll wait and maybe I'll figure, so then we can talk about, well, how long are you going to wait before you start to accumulate more money for your kids to go to school? So think about it for your business. What's one example of why someone would come for you for help and why now? Why has it become an issue now? It's really important because, as you know, we will put up with something for a long time until the tips. And once it gets to that tipping point, we want to do something about it. That's when we will do something about it. And that's when people hire a coach. So what is the big why now? Right? Luann, for you, it might be that, I'm on my third act and I need to make this work so that I have a good retirement and I can move on with my life.
Yeah.
Right?
Just getting more clients. Yeah. Like you said about your previous one.
Yeah. And so, and why now? Right? Because I can't build my business unless I can show up. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So if you can show me how to show up, Luann, I remember my first Facebook Live. I was terrified. It doesn't look like it, but I was terrified. And I firmly believed that I could just delete it if I wanted to, but people started commenting on it and that freaked me out. So I think your services are so needed for the people who didn't grow up with this technology and didn't grow up with their face on screen. Like it took me forever just to FaceTime my daughter. Because I'm like, no, I can't. My hair's not done. And she didn't care. So I totally get what you're doing. Okay, step 3, tell your story. Again, this isn't your life story. This is a story that lets them know that you understand, lets them know that you've been there, that you've overcome it, and now you're going to help other people overcome it. So I would actually write down a story or two that you can use based on whoever you're talking to, and not so that it's scripted, but so that you're ready to talk to them about it. So if somebody comes to me and says, I was very successful in the real world, and now I'm moving online and I can't figure out how to be successful here, right? I can tell the story of how that happened to me. I thought I could just hang a shingle, say, hi, everybody, I'm a sales coach, and they would come to me because I have all this experience and I have all this knowledge, and it didn't work that way. So I can tell the story of how it took me time and how I can help them move forward through it a little bit more. So just take a few seconds and just write down like the headline of what your story would be, right? Luann, maybe if you were camera shy, you can talk about, yes, I was camera shy until I showed up and the world kept turning and everybody kept living their lives and nothing bad happened when I showed up on camera.
Yeah. Or that I just didn't feel like I was ready. Somebody would ask me a question I wasn't ready for.
Right. Right. And what happens when you do that, Luann? What happens when somebody asks you a question you're not ready for?
Oh, then you just say, well, I would love to tell you that, but I don't know right now. Let me do some research and I'll get back to you.
Exactly. Because people don't expect us to know everything. We are not all knowing beings as coaches.
Right.
And I learned this in sales. People would ask me questions. I was supposed to be the expert on digital sales. And they would ask me a question, and I'd say, you know what? I don't know. I have never thought about that, but I will get back to you within 24 hours with that answer. They're fine with that.
Yeah.
Right. But it's hard if you haven't practiced that. It's like deer in the headlights, right? You just want to shut off the camera. Maybe they don't see me anymore.
Sorry, going.
Oh, that's great. So step 4. Now, this is the place where you can really customize your sales call. You can talk about the highlights of your program and only the highlights. So if you're talking, it's features and benefits. Don't talk about the features of your program because nobody really cares about the features. They want to know what they're going to get out of it, right? If you coach with me in 3 to 4 months, you will have a sales process that lands you 3 to 5 new clients a month consistently for however long you want to do it. That's what people want to know. They don't want to know, I'm going to help you find your ideal client, and then I'm going to help you design your program, and then I'm going to help you find the right groups. They don't want to know all of that. They just want to know if they work with me, I've got the tools to get them where they're going to go. Now, you can also talk about results here or testimonials. If you have someone that you have helped that's in a similar situation to them, this is a great place to put it in. I coached so-and-so, and it was very similar to your situation. They had all of the things that you had, and we talked about it, and now they're out of that situation. This is a perfect place for that. Or you can do a brief coaching session on a very small subject, no more than 15 or 20 minutes, to give them an example of what that coaching might look like. And you can do a coaching session in 20 minutes if you really stay laser focused on it. and make sure it's only one thing. But this is a great place to do that if they've never been coached before and they don't know what it's about. So this is a mixed bag. You can use some of these or all of these, but be ready for them within your coaching call and have some tools ready to be able to pick one at this point. So just what results do you offer, right? What is your big result? Luann, what would you say is your big result? If you just had to tell me, Teresa, that I can get this for you.
That they'll be boldly visible in their business.
What does that mean to be fully visible in my business, Luann?
Boldly visible. That means that they show up authentically, and they can tell their story from their heart and actually be out there where people can see them and get to know them, like, and trust them.
Yes. And you know what I feel like, Luann, when you say that, it feels like I finally own my whole business. I don't just own my business. I own my business with a big O.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good. Okay. Step 5 are questions. Now, this is formerly known as objections. That's an old school sales term, but this is anything you haven't answered along the way that they want to know. And questions will come from all different directions, and hopefully they're really good questions, but you're going to get some very similar questions. At this point, they may ask you details about the program. And at this point, you're probably going to get the question of, well, how much does it cost? Right? You have to be ready for that question. So if you know as many questions as they're going to possibly ask, you can already have the answers ready. So if somebody says to me at this point, yeah, Teresa, but how much is it going to cost? I say, oh, so you're ready to talk about the program? Great. Let me tell you about it. Let me tell you what you're going to get. And then I can tell you how much it's going to cost. I don't get roped into that, give them a price when they don't even know what they're buying yet. So think about 3 questions that you might get most in your business, right? Luann, you might get the question of, what if I go through your whole program and I still can't be visible? Like I still can't move forward with it.
Yeah, that is one that I get. Yeah, that is one that kind of stumps me sometimes, because it's like, well, I do offer a satisfaction guaranteed offer. If they are not completely satisfied, I will refund their money.
So another thing, and a coach did this with me. She said, Teresa, don't buy this program from where you are today. Buy this program for where you want to be in 4 months, right? Buy this from a future you. So if you're looking at this and you have doubts, look at 4 months down the line when you have that confidence, and let that person make that decision.
Okay.
So they're already projecting themselves into that space. You can also talk about, there are lots of people visible in their business, and like me, it hasn't killed you. Like you will walk away from it unscathed. So I know how to do this. I know how to help you. You just have to be brave. Take my hand and be brave.
Yep.
Because they want to say yes at this point.
Just take that leap.
Yeah. And you're very generous to offer a money back guarantee after the entire program. That's very generous. That's very generous. I personally would do like either a 30-day money back guarantee, or my guarantee is, if you haven't gotten 5 clients by the end of my program, I'm going to keep you on until you get 5 clients. Until you master where you want to get. So if you don't get it by the end of my program, I'm going to keep working with you one-on-one until I get you there. Because they want the result. They don't want the money.
No, yeah, they do. You're right.
Yeah. So think about that.
Okay.
And then number 6 is the close. This is where you briefly outline your program, right? And hit the highlights, no more than 3 or 5 points on your program. Don't give them the details, but the highlights of, I'm going to show you how to get qualified leads. I'm going to show you how to move them through the sales funnel. And then I'm going to show you how to close all of those hot leads. That's what I do. And this is the price. And then you have to ask them if they want to work with you. You have to ask the question, so do you want to work together? Right? People are not going to volunteer that. So that's the hard part. Now, a lot of people can go through most of this sales call at a pretty steady voice and a pretty calm pace. But once they get here, here's what I've noticed. Their voice gets higher. They start talking faster. They start discounting their program before the person even said no. They start throwing in bonuses, and they get really nervous about the end, about the close. And so you might have to practice this part of it, staying in the same calm space and knowing that you have the program that's going to help them, and they can say yes or no. You don't have to be married to the outcome, and you don't have to feel like you're pushy. You're not actually going to reach in their wallet and take out their credit card, right? You're just going to offer it to them. So practice it in the mirror, practice it with friends and family, but you want to get really good at being calm when you offer your program. So are you clear on your program and the price? Do you know what you offer and how much it costs? And are you very comfortable with that? So I'm going to ask you, Luann, since you're the only one here, are you comfortable with what you offer?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. My program's a 12-week program, and it's $19.97. It includes the two. Well, do you tell the features during yours or not?
You know, I tell no, I don't tell the features because people don't want to know the features. They just want to know the benefits.
Okay.
So unless they specifically ask, so in this program, are you going to show me how to find my ideal client? Absolutely.
Okay.
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 So I talk about, in your case, and I don't know your program, so I'm just going to make this up. I make you very comfortable with your voice when you're writing your content for your social media. I make you very comfortable. I help you be very comfortable in front of the camera, and we work on it until you are confident and comfortable, and that comes across. I help you to be comfortable when you're talking to someone one-on-one about your products and services, so that you're very comfortable with that. So those are the kinds of things I would talk about, what you'll get from this program and how much it will be. And I'm going to show you, because I'm going to pitch you my current program, and you can see how I do it.
Okay.
so that it's, it becomes natural. Now, if the price point is going to be low for some people, fine for some people, too high for some people, you can't worry about that, right? You can't reduce it down to $500 so everybody can have it, because you don't really want to coach those people. If you coach at a very high quality and you offer a really good result like you do, Luann, you gotta stay at that level that you're at. And if people can't afford it, they don't see the value in it, or you haven't given them the value in it. So that's another thing you can look at. Is there enough value in this program? Perceived value. I know there's value, you know there's value, but have you given them the perceived value that your program is worth it? So what I did today was basically go through the sales process with you in this meeting so that you can see how it works. So I set the agenda in the what you will learn today side. I got your story. I invited Luann to speak up and tell us, who she is and what she does. I told you a little bit about my story. I talked about my program just a little bit throughout the process, so you know that I'm a sales coach and I'm going to help you get more clients so you can make more money. The questions, I'll answer any questions right now. And then once we're done with the questions, I'm going to go ahead and go into my program and show you how I present it and what it looks like. So Luann, do you have any questions up to this point based on what we've learned?
No, I think it's very clear. Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, jump in if you do. Samia, do you have any questions?
I don't have questions, but I really appreciated a lot of what you shared. And I, especially in the beginning, when you were making the distinction between like hot leads and warm leads and so forth, because I know for me, that was a distinction that I wasn't always clear on. And because of that, I really struggled, because I would often try to pitch someone that was just warm, and, and it was like too soon. And then I struggled with that. So to understand that distinction and to make sure that when you are going to engage in a sales call that you're doing with hot leads, I think that's super, super important to understand and realize. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you bet. Well, and you'll lose a warm lead if you try to close them too soon. But there are ways to have a conversation with a warm lead that isn't this sales process, right? It can move into this sales process, but you have to let a warm lead lead the way. They have to lead the way. You can't lead them until they get to the point where they're like, okay, this is going to be really good for me. I'm a maybe or a yes. Then you can launch into this, and you can do it in the same call, or you can say, great, well, if you have time, I'd love to tell you about my program, but if you don't, we can schedule another call. But you want to be very careful at that warm phase, because they're just like baby birds. You just have to nurture them a little bit more. Okay, then I'm going to tell you about the current program that I offer. So my program is called the Get More Clients Accelerator. So it's an online marketing and sales 12-week masterclass. It's going to be 12 weeks of live training. Now, the reason I'm doing live training is because I want this to be an accelerated program, and I want you to have answers to your questions as soon as you can. So once we do the live training, I hold a Q&A. So I answer those questions, and you don't have to go into the Facebook group after you've watched a video and try to get the answer. We're going to answer them on that day. And then we're going to have weekly action steps, or what they used to call homework, where you can implement what you've learned and then bring it back to the group. So just this part of the program is about a $4,800 value. Then I'm going to have a coaching mastery, which will be weekly group coaching sessions. So it'll be a couple days after the training, where you can bring in your questions. Maybe you've tried to implement the training, you're stumbling. We're going to have hot seats and practice sessions. Every single week, you're going to get together with the whole group, learn from each other, and get to move on a little bit faster. So every week, we're going to move through this pretty quickly, because what I want you to do is get clients as fast as you can. I don't want to draw this out. I want you to get up and running and moving as fast as you can. That by itself is a $3,600 value. I'm going to have a private Facebook community where you can interact with other students, and I can answer questions outside of the training and the coaching. So if something comes up, then you can get feedback on that pretty quickly too. And in addition, my number one bonus is I'm going to give you 3 one-on-one coaching sessions with me. You can use these whenever you want throughout the program if you need extra support. If you're really stuck on a session, you get on my calendar, you schedule a session, and we'll do a 45-minute session and move you past wherever you're stuck. Everybody gets stuck in different places, so that's why I wanted to open this up to just whatever works for you. That is a $900 value by itself. Then I'm going to do a second bonus, and this is really cool. This is for people who are design challenged. I will optimize and design 2 social media profiles for you. I will create the banner in Canva. I will help you choose the picture, and I will write your bio and your information for you, so that it's really super clear on what you do. And when people go to your bio, they understand exactly what you're offering. I'm going to do that for you. That's a $1,000 value. And the third bonus is, this is really cool too. I will evaluate 2 of your sales calls. If you record them on Zoom, we'll go through them together, and it's more like a sports coach. I'm going to tell you where you need to improve, what you did great, where you're falling down, so that you can actually, in the moment, improve your sales calls without having to do it over time. That's a $1,200 value. So you get all of this, the 12-week marketing and sales masterclass, 12 weeks of coaching mastery, the private Facebook community, personal coaching with me, social media profile optimization and evaluation of calls. So that's a value of $11,700. But I'm going to give you another bonus. I'm going to give you $500 off, just because you're in the incubator and you work with Samia. So the regular price is $2,997, but your price will be $2,497. Now, this is the last time I'm going to offer this package. It's good through the end of the year. We're going to start it in January, because I'm revamping my package, and it's going to be even bigger next year. So this is a really good deal if you really want to get your sales up and moving next year. So this is good through December. We're going to start the first week of January. So if you want more information, feel free to send me a message on Facebook. I think Samia posted my Facebook profile page, or find me on Facebook. It's just Teresa Paul. Send me a message, put in there incubator, hashtag incubator, and then say, hey, Teresa, I have some questions. I'd be happy to schedule a call and answer some more questions for you. So any questions on any of that?
I like how you put the value of each. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I learned that from the masters. That's not mine, but it is, because it is hugely valuable. And I think sometimes we forget that what we know is very, very valuable. And if other people don't know it, they're willing to pay for it. And, I put 30 years into this, to learning this stuff and practicing and failing and learning again. So if you can take my 30 years and condense it to 3 months, that would be a miracle, I would think.
Indeed.
So that's it.
Yay.
And this is the way you can present yours. So when I said, remember, make sure there's maximum value, make sure you give a lot of value. So not only are they getting the base program, but they're getting 4 bonuses just for attending this presentation. That's it. I'm not offering this to everybody else. This is just for this presentation, and this is for the new group that's starting in January. That's it. And then I'm never offering this package again. My next package will probably be double this, because I'm going to add a lot more stuff to it, and I'm going to go at a much higher level for people who want to get even more clients faster, or for people who have very high ticket programs.
Yeah, that
Very
is so
cool.
cool.
Thank you
And
so much.
You're welcome.
I, by the way, really, really love the bonuses of the personal coaching and the evaluation of the sales calls, because that's, actually even invaluable, because I know, like when I was going through my learning process, I learned so much theory, but it wasn't until I actually started to try and implement what I was doing that I ran into trouble. And I was like, what do I do now? And when I didn't have a person to give me feedback on my specific questions with my specific situation and and in that time when I was really struggling with it, oh my gosh, the theoretical knowledge can only take you so far. So the actual hand holding that you're providing in this way, it's honestly invaluable. I really, really appreciate that.
Well, and another thing, Samia, is sometimes you don't know what your mistake is. You just don't know. It's not working. So you have no idea what it is that's not working. And that is so frustrating. And that's when having somebody like a coach come in and say, oh, I see, make this one tweak, right? It can make all the difference in the world.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, this makes me think about about when I did my first webinar, and I thought I was following along the template that I'd learned from my coach really well. But when I actually sent the recording of the webinar I'd done to my coach, and I was like, hey, can you give me feedback on this? He was like, oh, you actually need to follow the template I shared with you much more closely. And these are all the ways in which you didn't follow it. And then once he pointed it out in the context of the actual recording of my actual webinar, I was like, oh my God, I totally see it now. But when I was actually doing it, I was like, I'm doing a great job following the template that my coach has given me, And so you're absolutely right, Teresa. Sometimes you literally can't see where we have sort of fallen off the track.
Yes. And then you create bad habits that then you have to break in order to move forward. So it's better just to learn this stuff in the very beginning, because, this is a teach you to fish program. I want you to learn this stuff and be able to use it and duplicate it and replicate it and improve it throughout your whole career, right? This isn't something where you need me to hold your hand for 12 months. Now, I'm available as a resource because you're going to run into things, but you're going to have the basics pretty solid to be able to figure out who the hot leads are and close them, which is going to make your life so much easier. Rather than, like right now, you're probably struggling with this whole pool of people on your social media, and you don't know what to do with them. There's just a bunch of people there that you keep talking to, but you have no idea what they're doing or where they're going. Well, I teach you about that. I teach you how to recognize that and how to have those conversations and how to shut down conversations that are wasting your time, because that'll happen a lot too. You really need to focus on what your goal is, and those are the people you're going to talk to. And it's about putting up boundaries. It's not about being mean. It's about putting up boundaries because you have a job to do. This is my job. This is how I make a living, right? If it wasn't, and I could just coach anybody, that'd be a different story.
That's right.
And sometimes it's just the nuance of the words you use too. By tweaking it just a little bit, it makes a big difference.
Yes. And that's true, because there might be something you say that is jargon for your industry that people don't understand.
Mhm.
Right. And so then you lose them right at that little tipping point and you don't even understand why.
Right.
That's really good. Well, and I ask people if they're just a solid no, I ask for feedback. Okay, where did I lose you along the way? Right? I have nothing to lose at that point. They're a no. So if they can give me some feedback and I can get better, then great.
Yeah, that is an excellent point. That is
Yeah.
an excellent point because so much you can learn from that feedback.
Right. And if you ask it in the right way, they're going to be open about it, and I tell them I'm not going to be offended. I'm a very hard person to offend. I'm not going to be offended, but I want to learn from this. And I wish you well and I hope you find the right coach for you. But tell me where I went off track, because I felt like we were on track for a while.
Hmm.
And it might not be anything that I can correct, right? I
Mhm.
can't be a different person. So if they're just like, oh, you're too bubbly, I just can't handle that. Okay, great. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good. Did you get something out of this, Luann? Something you
I
could use?
definitely did. I definitely did. I like the thing about the value, that you did the total values. And also just what you've mentioned about how the difference between doing the refund and actually um, seeing their future you and project into their future you. I like that a lot.
Oh, good. Great. Good. I wish you success. And if you want to friend me on Facebook, and I'm happy to answer questions over DM real quick. I have people all the time. Teresa, how about this headliner? Hey, I'm going to change my this and that. I'm happy to help with that kind of stuff.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you bet.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Luann.
You take good care. And I think, by the way, I mean to stop our Facebook live stream, but we had a couple of people watching on Facebook live stream as well. And I've shared all the info for Teresa, how you can connect with Teresa in the chat over there. And I've also shared my info. So please connect with us if you think we can support you. And until next time, I wish you lots and lots of peace and joy.